What's going on, Vigilante World? It's your guy SPEC Civilian, and we are back with another video. First things first, I want to give a shout out to all my viewers, subscribers, and Patreon supporters for making this a home to catch some content before you make a purchase. Much gratitude to BCA for sponsoring the channel, allowing me to feed my firearms to bring you content. Be sure to click on the link in the description and use the channel code to rack up some rounds. Today, I'm bringing you another episode of 75 Live. In today's video, we're actually going to be diving back into the CZ Custom Accu Shadow 2 Compact, just because it's super great of a gun. And honestly, the very first time that I was shooting it, I was given a bunch of like first impressions and kind of like what I thought about the gun. But honestly, this gun has so much more to offer than just first impressions, and I truly want to kind of dive into that. And that's kind of the best thing about what I'm going to get into today. Now, I was able to craft a solid loadout that allows me to just kind of get into an optic and what it kind of feels like to have like a light on and everything like that, and just kind of train and run through a bunch of really cool trials. There's a couple little details that have to do with the internals that I want to dive into real quick, so let's get into it. All right, Vigilante World, let me highlight a couple of perks that you get out of the Accu Shadow 2 Compact single action only. Now, real quick, safety check. Now, the best part about this gun is that it actually already comes optic ready, so you don't have to do any milling or anything like that in order to get this super solid optic on there. And you can actually use whatever optic that you like. Now, one thing is that it does not come with an optic plate, so you will have to actually find one of those. I know if you want to actually have a co-witnessed rear sight, you're going to have to go with the CNH Precision one, or if you want to have no rear sight, you're going to just have to go with one of the standard optic mount plates. Now, at the end of the day, the best part about having this type of setup, definitely with the Accu bushing, is that not only do you get a little bit more accuracy with having the Accu bushing setup, not only that, it's super solid to look at. It does offer the super solid practical use of removing the sight, because once you do actually take this bushing off, you have the option to make sure that you can run irons or not. Same thing if you're getting a specific plate that has the rear cut witness sight or not. So you do have a couple options whenever you are jumping into this, and that's why I'm taking advantage of it like this. Since this is more of a carry gun, I decided to go ahead and go with the irons co-witnessed with the optic, just because it makes the most sense. Because if I'm carrying this, then I definitely want to be able to have some backup irons. Now, regardless, with having that Accu bushing, like I said, you're going to be able to take that sight off, which I'm going to be able to show you a little bit later once we kind of get into some of the internals. But with having that Accu bushing, as you see, this thing is dirty because I've been running this thing. It's been super fun to actually run. It really shows me that just having something as little as an Accu bushing really makes a difference in making sure that you can get not only a much tighter self-defense grouping, but if you're really shooting long distance, then you can honestly make sure to manage all your shots and have a super solid group. So you can have some fun whether you're working on, you know, self-defense or long distance with just having a little perk just like this. Having the crown does aid in making sure that, you know, the barrel does not get marred up or anything like that. And since it is recessed a little bit into the actual bushing, it does help that as well. The recoil system is very, very, very balanced with this, which again, I will get into here in a second once we dive into the internals. But if anyone wants to really think about doing any type of conversion with like the trigger or anything like that, if you're giving it to some gunsmith for them to go ahead and knock that out for you, or you're needing to do any type of maintenance to make sure that you have a replacement trigger or anything like that, what you get out of making sure that you can have a solid single action only gun is something that is 100% up to par with some of the best guns that are out there. Some things out there are going to just be faster, but some things out there are just going to not be as good as this. And that's just the reality of how well this thing does with a simple update like a single action only trigger. You know for a fact, again, it only results in having super short wall and then a super crispy trigger. Now, again, if we're talking about the reset super short, and then you're right back at it. So that's kind of the best thing about that in general, and really being able to have that super solid update with that trigger that allows you to be able to get so much more crispy shots. The traditional Shadow 2 does give crispy shots, but this thing just does it that much better, and that's the reality of the function. And since this thing has so many open things for the gun, you can truly take this thing through almost anything and know for a fact you're not going to have to feel inferior to anybody that's out there in the competition world, or even if you're just trying to defend yourself. Now, real quick, let's dive into these internals. As you know, with maintaining any type of CZ pistol, you're going to have to line up these notches to make sure you actually get the field strip in. So, all right, so So you just pop it off like that. Now, the best thing about the Accu shadow system is that when you're dealing with the slide and actually dealing with the Accu shadow system, of course you have the Accu tool where you can go traditional and push the bushing down and make sure to actually crank it and make sure the spring comes out, and then you can take the bushing out and the barrel that way. The best part about having the option of doing it that way or going with a traditional maintenance option this way is to where you can traditionally take the CZ slide off and make sure, again, pop out whatever spring that you're running. That's going to release this little spring capture here. You simply take your tool, line up the bushing, and crank it. Now, whenever you want to crank it, there's going to be a little notch right there that you're going to be able to see in there that lines up. That's the main thing you want to be able to see. So you can just pull that bushing out, make sure to clean it, then take the barrel out. And so that's essentially how you end up doing that. But again, the best part about this is that even in going through this process, you can easily just slide that side off to where, again, if you are running to run this slide without any irons and just have the optic, it makes it very simple without any pin or anything like that, to where you're not having to worry about marring up your slide or anything like that. So it makes it very convenient for anybody who is looking for those options. And again, if you are just wanting to put it back, you can literally just go back. Whenever anybody is thinking about doing any type of update or even maintaining and cleaning the gun like this, the main things that you want to make sure that you want to look at is these springs in here, as well as your sear springs, to make sure, for one, that nothing's broken, so everything can be working proper, but for two, that everything can be oiled and lubed properly to make sure it can function as need be. Inside, typically you would end up seeing a disconnector down there. You don't have to worry about that, so you don't have to worry about that extra double stack reset. It's just simply going to go right back into that single action, which makes it very convenient for folks to just have those double tap follow-up shots. And when you're putting this thing back together, of course, you got to remember you do have that recoil capture in there. So whenever you're getting your overall bushing, just make sure to line up, again, that little notch that you see with the little open slot. Once that is lined up, make sure you drop it on in there. You can start turning it yourself. After you get that all how you need, just go ahead and throw that guide rod in there. And this is what's going to force that capture to go ahead and get aligned with the rest of it. Now, let's do that. Boom. Again, there you see it. Now, the guide rod is going to be a little recessed until you actually put the slide on, and then after that, it will go back to normal. So don't worry about that, or don't ever fret. Just know for a fact that you're doing everything right. And then, same thing, line up those notches. And just like that, we're back at it. So that's kind of the best part. There's a lot of things that go into this gun that just allow people to have convenience, but also all the right things that they need to just have a great shooting experience. And that's really what I want to highlight in the minimal things that people can actually get just from the specs of this gun. But now, let's go ahead and get off the map. Let's talk about it. Back to it. So as you've seen, defining what was going on with the internals of this system and how you can really have the little things that matter just enhance, a pistol that's already super great is what makes this gun so great in the first place. Again, the Shadow 2 Compact is a super great gun, but whenever you add the little things like an Accu bushing or a single action only trigger that allows you to get so much crispier of shots, it really just aids in the whole experience in shooting the gun. And then adding on a full loadout with a light and a dot, I'm trying to tell you, the gun's super solid. Not only is the gun aesthetically pleasing, but it handles business, and that's what people want out of something that they're going to have to spend any type of money on, any hard work money on. You're going to want something that's going to handle business as you need. With having that alloy frame coupled with that amazing grip texture, it really helps aid in the overall perceived recoil, so you don't really have to worry about the gun flipping on you or anything like that. Definitely with it being a compact gun, it makes it easy for it to really just kind of sit and maintain your shots. Now, as we get into the performance, the sight acquisition on this gun is super solid. The best part about this gun as it is when you do find your sights and you are right on the trigger, it's easy to just go ahead and let a shot go without having to think about anything else besides hitting the target. And that's the best part about having the update. That being said, self-defense trials were super fun. Definitely throwing the optic on there. I was able to zero the optic this time, so it was actually fun. I didn't have to worry about anything dipping or nothing like that. Was able to send the target back 10 yards, solid 10 rounds, and get a fair group, and I really can't complain. It was super easy, and again, that trigger makes it super sweet to just have fun getting a super solid group. On top of that, being able to throw an optic on there truly helps you be be able to find the sights super easy to where it just feels comfortable as soon as you draw and shoot the gun. Honestly, having the alloy frame, you really don't notice that too much, but what I can say is throwing the light on there does kind of aid in that overall recoil. So it actually is pretty cool, and being able to get a super solid group again and feel comfortable off the first draw. As I got into the long distance draws, they were just as fun because again, having a zeroed optic on a gun like this allows you to see how this gun shoots and have an amazing experience, just seeing how much more fluent the gun can react and making sure that you can maintain a shot at such a long distance. And I don't want to say such a long distance, but at such a fair distance. Most self-defense people aren't gonna have to worry about it, but even then, my grouping at 60 yards was a solid watermelon size. And again, it was super easy, it was super comfortable to just draw and know for a fact I was gonna hit anyways. So regardless of what the group spread was, I knew for a fact I was comfortable enough to even just point the gun and get off as many rounds as I can in a decent time and still have a solid group. So that's kind of the best part about, again, the updates that goes into this gun. Outside of just making it more accurate, it's so much more fast. And on top of that, having all the extra perks in the loadout allows it to really kind of just sit like a so much bigger gun. And I'm telling you, nobody would actually be upset even if they didn't do that or did do this, because again, as it is, the gun at a foundation is super solid. But the thing about these updates really does reign true in making sure that you can get a crispier, faster, and more accurate shot. Just the reality of the function. I know time and time again, I've gone into trigger resets, presets, and all this good stuff, but the best part about, again, this gun is that whenever you're already taking a gun that has a super solid single action in the first place, but also making sure that you have the right spring weights to where it can be crispy enough, but also have that really sharp wall for you to not have to worry about, you know, reaching all the way through the gun just to let a shot go, allows you to, again, feel comfortable so you don't have to worry about your shots being scattered anyways. Also, having that super solid reset on something like this, jeez, I'm trying to tell you, feels so much closer to anything that is the top dollar gun that you could ever get. And that's why I really appreciate this gun and even how it's given me an experience, because truly nothing like anything I've shot before, and honestly feels everything better in terms of expensive guns and making sure that I can get a fun experience and on top of an accurate experience. The gun just makes you feel comfortable. I'm telling you, you don't have to do anything extra. Just make sure you hit a target. It's not super expensive. On top of that, it's not crazy kicky or snappy or none of those things that you typically get out of a compact gun or a smaller gun. It really just feels like it just sits like any other high dollar gun. So that's what I'm saying, is that no one loses anything in making sure that you can get double taps or even triple taps off if you wanted to. Y'all can train around this stuff just like I do and make sure that, again, it can be the funnest experience, and knowing for a fact you can be safe and the gun can just shoot how you need it to. So you don't lose anything in any of this. I mean, mag dumps on this gun are just fun, ridiculous, whatever you want to call it, but you don't have to worry about losing any accuracy even if you did want to let some shots go a little bit faster. It's just that much more clean of a reaction that you get whenever you're pulling that trigger, and have those updates to make sure that you can have that crispy shot. I'm telling you, it's just too simple and too easy. If you ever really need to run some reloads and drop the mag, get some mag swaps in, I'm trying to tell you, it's still super solid. Definitely for you to get back to the target and get back to shooting. That's kind of the main thing. You can drop your mags, make sure you feed your mags back in, and really get back to shooting as quick as possible. Definitely, if need be, if you are in any situation or competition where you really need to do that. So that's kind of the best part. It's super smooth, and again, it allows you to be that much faster and that much quicker than the next person. Now, in terms of reliability, between any trigger maintenance, muzzle updates, anything like that, I have not had to worry about anything. Don't have to worry about losing any reliability and having a much faster, accurate gun that I can still carry. Simple. Now, within my initial rounds of this gun, I've had 0 failures, so I don't have to worry about, again, losing any reliability in aiding in performance. That is the best part about anything that is going on with this gun. You lose nothing but gain everything. And on top of that, it looks so beautiful. Green's my favorite color, so again, I just got to take that one. But regardless, even if you chose whatever color that you like, it's still going to be beautiful because it allows you to have that experience that you really want out of a gun, definitely like this. Just like any other gun, this gun can be just as safe. Again, you can train just like any other battery arms that you use so that you can make sure that you don't have to worry about malfunctions or any of the minor things that you might not be thinking about at those, crazy times, whether, again, you're in a match or a self-defense situation. Those are things that you can can easily make negligible to you to where you don't have to worry about them. I'm not worried about anything in terms of safety for this firearm because I know for a fact I train around this. And honestly, I train a lot of CZs, so that's nothing for me to have to worry about, you know, a slim safety, even though I do not like that safety. I can still train around it. And honestly, if somebody does want to just, you know, craft one, I'd love to actually get one, swap it out. But until then, it's something that I can train around, and honestly gets better and better and easier every time I do actually draw the firearm. So that's one thing that I will let people know, is that again, as long as you're training with the firearm instead of just trying to give it a first impression, you're going to get much more in the practicality of the firearm in the first place. And yes, this is 100% still a carry gun, and honestly it's a carry gun, carry optics gun, whatever you kind of want it to be, because it truly embodies everything for somebody who is a self-defense person or a competition person, and it allows you to just, again, be able to have a great experience shooting, and not only that, still be safe. And again, if you are training, that's nothing that you're gonna have to worry about, because the likelihood of something really happening is very slim to none. Not only that, if you're training around it, you're slimming those odds even more. So again, the best part about just having a firearm in the first place is being able to know that you can be smarter than the equipment that you're working with, and take that thing to the range and make sure that you can actually train and get your mind right and wrap your mind around what you're going to be using to defend yourself or go out and get some points. Best part about it in the first place. Now, there's still no MSRP on this gun because again, this is a gun that I was able to bring to you from the SPEC Civilian channel. For me, I'm a craftsman. I love to, again, take guns and make them more me. That's been the base of my channel ever since I've started this thing. And so this is just another homage to that, and making sure that the core of my crowd knows we have some great things coming for you. So if you did like this gun, definitely make sure you smash that like button. If you have any comments or anything like that, make sure you drop them down below. I'd love to hear what you guys think about the overall performance with an optic, maybe what optic you guys would have run. I know I chose to go with the 507 comp just because, again, it's super solid. Definitely make sure to subscribe. I got mad more content coming for y'all. Other than that, all I gotta say is stay safe, get some ammo. Till next time, y'all.